Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, let's do a level 99 review of Mariale. And this might seem like an oddball choice because she's way in the future. She is the MR that comes with Skadu, but I wanted to do Mariale before Ildyra would be released in Global because they share two jobs that are the same. And then I have experience using Mariale here. I don't have experience using Ildyra. So to give some insight on her, I'll talk about how I felt about using a Mariale so far. And I want to be really careful about exaggerating this, but Mariale might be the best MR in the game. I kind of consider her an MR version of Miranda, but she can attack, she can heal, she's tanky, and she has good AI. But if we look at her stats, we can see her HP is very high for an MR. It's definitely a tank level there. And of course, her being main job Spellblade, she'll have pretty good magic. And then move 4. I don't know what that comes from. We'll take a look at that later. But yeah, main job Spellblade, sub-job Calculator, and then also sub-job Thief. And then Spellblade, I have talked about this job a little bit recently, but I'm very interested in the job. And then Mariale is really kind of the first one that I've used, that is main job Spellblade. And she's been pretty impressive as far as damage. I used her in a recent arena video that I made, but she was doing like 1500 damage to level 99 URs, so that's pretty good. And that's not even with the Dark Slayer, that was off element. So fairly good attacker considering that she is a tank. And then if we look at her status, we can see that she has base 10 magic resistance, and then also base 10 projectile resistance. So if you do use her for tanking, you want to concentrate on those two. She is more suited for magic because, as you can see, I have the support ability to give her the additional 12. And then she has like the Spellblade self buffs, which will give you more magic resistance and stuff. But again, like the arena video that I showed earlier, you can build on this 10% projectile resistance and get her up to 50 or higher, depending on what you give her. Alright, and then we'll look at the Trussmaster. A lot of the MRs have nice weapon Trussmasters, and I'm a fan of the weapon Trussmasters because I feel the less need to make +5 weapons, which I don't enjoy at all. But this is a regular old sword, so a whole bunch of people can equip it. Attack 64, magic 108. That's pretty respectable, a magic value. And then the bonus ability is Spirit Break. That's very unusual for a weapon. And then this is great for Mariale, of course, because she has attacks that are magic-based. But you could put it on almost anybody, Mont or Dario or Engelbert, and then if you pair them with magic attackers, you're going to get benefit from this sword. Okay, but let's go to the board. Let's look at her main job Spellblade skills. But Banish Sword, Banish Ga Sword. Those are the light element and have the Dark Slayer. Banish Ga, this has a little bit of range there. And then she has Bio Sword, that is still light element but has a chance to poison, but still has damage medium. Sometimes we have poison attacks in games where they do the minimum of damage, but this is still pretty powerful. And then here, Silence Blade and Chicken Blade, I am always surprised when I use these, but these are stronger than I always expect. So yeah, even though all of these attacks are pretty short range, that works for Mariale actually, because as a tank, you want her to move to the front, right next to opponents, so she can take hits and then she'll be set up to use her own short range attacks. It's good synergy with her kit. And then here, Magic Barrier, this is a self buff. For 3 hits, you will take less damage from magic attacks. Okay, and then a sub-job, Spellblade, this might look familiar. But Attract Spell and then Magic Resist. Attract Spell, this is great, of course, if you want to raise hate. It's also one of her best ranged attacks, and then it also hits AoE. And this does decent damage too, maybe not as good as her short range attacks, but still pretty good. And then Magic Resist, this is an AoE buff. This will raise the magic resistance of everybody in that area. Oh, and I should say that she equips helms and armor. So hopefully you got the Armor of Light from the Final Fantasy I collaboration. You'll be able to put that on her. Or if you wanted to build on the projectile resistance, you can give her a helmet. Okay, let's look at Thief real quick, just to get it out of the way. She's got Steal Time, Snipe Dagger, Steal Vision, Shadow Cast, I think. This is one where she raises the evade on herself, Steal, and Mug. So Steal Time, that could be good for some raids. Mug, you could make her a Gil Farmer. She does not have Steel Heart, unfortunately. That's very powerful on a tank like Lavius. Of the 3 jobs, this is the one that I use the least. When I want to go heavy for magic tanking, then I go for the Spellblade subjob. When I want a more well-rounded character, I go for Calculator. And then Calculator, this was kind of the reason why I chose to level Mariale at all in the beginning, was because I had 0 experience with Calculator, and I wanted to learn the job. In the original Final Fantasy Tactics, it was kind of a difficult job to use, powerful but a little bit tricky, and so I was wondering how they were going to do it in War of the Visions, but it turns out it's not that hard to use, and it's pretty useful. But let's go through the skills one by one. This is a height-based cure, so a single target cure, and then the higher elevation that the target is standing on, the more healing they will get. But it's still worth using, even if you're on, like, level 0. But maybe in a place like the Deep Dungeon, where you start from the top and work your way down, that might be a good spell for there. Okay, CT Arrange, this is interesting. Everybody in that area of effect will have all of their CT values averaged with each other. I'm not good at math, so if you have like a guy with like 90 over here, and then a guy with 10 over here, you use this on them, they'll both end up with 50. I hope that's how that works. So this could be good also for slowing down enemies, speeding up teammates, stuff like that. Okay, and then here is the height-based Banish. This is an attack spell that works the same as the height-based Cure. The higher the elevation, the more damage this will do. But very low AP as we can see. And then, just like a lot of the other calculator skills, no casting time. Okay, here is Height 3 Don't Act. This is one of the calculator's best skills. But Don't Act, that's one of the best status effects. And so to be able to cast this on multiple guys, again with no casting time, that's pretty powerful. And then they have released some content that is specifically aimed at using this skill. For the Final Fantasy IV high difficulty content, there are 2 skeletons that have annoying attacks, but they're on a height of 3, and then they're weak to Don't Act, so this is almost like a guaranteed Don't Act on them. You can use it on them, and then you can go around taking care of the other guys. Okay, below that we have level 4 Banishra. Any enemy or opponent with a multiple of 4, will take extra damage from this attack. You can use this attack on anybody, it'll just do extra damage on those guys. So you really can kind of use it without worrying about like the levels of guys. You won't get the max damage, but if you just want some damage, then this would be great for you. But yeah, excellent area of effect, nice range, low cost, no casting time. And then here we have level 4 Banishka, more AP cost but greater damage, again based off the multiple of their level. But yeah, just the fact that you have these AoE attacks that have nice range and then come out immediately makes all calculators good farmers. I haven't used this Mariale for farming, but maybe I should. The way it is in JP now, Mediana as the best farmer has kind of lost her reputation there. There are sometimes when you go to easy quests, people will leave a comment for what they want. There are people asking specifically for Ildyra. No Medianas, please, they say. I think that's going overboard. Mediana is still a good farmer in JP, but that's the direction that the game is going. Okay, next let's look at support abilities. So here, this is the magic tanking one. This will raise your magic resistance and then also dark resistance. We saw earlier that she had a weakness to dark of 3, -3, so that's not terrible for her. Okay, next is the Thief support ability. This will give move +1 and agility up. That's where the move +1 is coming, so that's nice. And then she also has gained AP up, I guess if you wanted to spam those calculator skills, you could use that. And then here we have two interesting support abilities. This is height 3 becomes 2. So before we saw the don't act height 3, you can change that to height 2 by equipping this. And so if you're on a map where there's a lot of elevations that are multiples of 2, it would be better to use this. But like previously in the Final Fantasy IV high difficulty content, if your target is starting out on height 3, then you don't need to equip this. This would actually get in the way. Later there is an arena map where the opposing team, where both teams rather, start on elevation 0. And I think elevation 0 counts as a multiple of 2, which makes no sense. I'll look into it and I'll put a note at the bottom of the screen there if that is true. But that is something to keep in mind too, in case you run across elevation 0. Okay, then here's something similar. Change level 4 to level 3. So before we saw the level 4 Banish Ra and Banish Ga. If you wanted to target enemies that have a level of multiple of 3, then you want to equip this. And then if you're going into Arena, the level that you're most likely to face in an opponent is 99. So yeah, if you did want to use a calculator in Arena, then equipping this would probably be a good idea. But also you think about like the tower or the deep dungeon, where you can look at the levels of the enemies before you go in there. You can see if everybody is a multiple of 4 or a multiple of 3. Most times when I use Mariale, I do not equip either of these because I don't care about getting every last little bit out of her attacks or healing. It's good enough that she can just do it at any level, so I usually have the move up and then the magic resistance up on instead. Okay, next are reaction abilities. Damage split. Let's see if I can explain this. So when she takes a hit, she has a chance to counterattack, and then a part of that counterattack damage she will take as healing. But this is a calculator skill, so it has a little bit of range on there, and that's nice. And then any kind of healing, like auto potion or auto heal or whatever, drain lance or whatever it's called, dragoon lance, I always like those reaction skills. Okay, otherwise she has magic guard. When she takes a magic attack, she has a chance to cut that damage by a little bit. And then quick action, when she takes damage, her speed will go way up. Alright, and then master ability is very interesting. Hate plus 5, and then area of effect attacks resistance up 15. So hate plus 5, that is the same value that you get from the Vow of Love card. And so when she wants to tank, she'll have much less need for that Vow of Love card. And then you can use that for attack resistances or higher magic or something. And then area of effect attack resistance up 15. That is good against a lot of magic users. They have a lot of area of effect. Double gunners, Orlandu, Super Stern, people like that. So yeah, she's kind of beefy. And I wonder, I haven't really tested it that much, but if that hate plus 5 is good enough, maybe you wouldn't need to equip the Spellblade subjob for the Attract Blade, and still use her as a tank, and then maybe use Calculator instead, and then get in some nice attack and nice healing. Alright, finally, let's equip her with some stuff. There she is. Alright, so let's look at how she is equipped here. And let's look at her statuses. Okay, so this was the projectile plus magic resistance build that I made. So 60% magic about 50% projectile. And that comes from the Snow White card. That's pretty great for her. And then the Fenrir Esper. This is one of the best Espers in the game, and this is one of the hard recommendations that I would do to everybody, if they were interested in magic resistance, because both the Esper and the Vision card will be good for that. If you have any interest in tanking magic, you definitely want Fenrir. And actually, I might as well announce now, I'm going to save my Lapis until Fenrir is released. Hopefully he gets the 5-step step-up, and then I'll spend all of my Lapis there. On my global account, my free-to-play account. Okay, and then I have Mariadu's Trussmaster here. And then here, this is the Final Fantasy IV limited time armor. Heavy armor, and then it will give you projectile resistance. So +8 there, that's very nice. And then here, this is a future accessory. Anybody can equip this. This will give you magic resistance up 8. So if you missed the Armor of Light, you can pick this up later. As for other Trussmasters that might be good for her, maybe Stern's Armor. If you use this active ability, you'll get additional area of effect resistance. You could give her some of these other swords with different status effects there. Don't Move, or Confusion. You could give her Trussmaster for more defense and spirit. Or you could give her any of the SR Trussmasters, give her a little bit more element resistance. For armor, she can equip gold armor if you want to work on Slash. She does start with 0 resistance, but you can still get it pretty high, like 60, 70 if you got all the max stuff. Helmet, of course, for more projectile resistance. But yeah, that is Mariale. Maybe my favorite MR at the moment. Again, versatile, can attack, can heal, is tanky, and has good AI. But what I wanted to talk about most here was the combination of the Spellblade and Calculator jobs. When you have those two together, you have a good mix of range and short range, and then a little bit of support healing as well. She is focused on magic tanking, but she has all these other abilities that you can use. I'll talk about the viability of a magic tank Ildyra when I do that review in the next video. Alright, I think that'll do it for Mariale. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.